At the moment of the apocalypse, my girlfriend suddenly went all saintly. She insisted on charging into the zombie horde to save her. Makoto. I was about to stop her when, suddenly, a stream of bullet comments appeared before my eyes. They argued, "Don't try to stop her. She's just a trashy bitch. You'll end up hating him to death someday. Dude, respect other people's fate. Drop your hero complex." Spoiler alert, in a total meltdown, she'll open the door, let the zombies in, and drag you down with her. The hand I was about to reach out froze. The next second, I patted my girlfriend's shoulder and said, "Go ahead, I respect your choice." Chapter 01. Willow was instantly stunned, as if she had already anticipated that I would stop her. Her look of disdain hadn't even faded yet, but she didn't have time to wonder why I'd said that. Outside, Makoto was already in mortal danger, with the zombie horde steadily closing in. Without a second thought, Willow spun around and ran out. No sooner had she left than I slammed the door shut behind her. Fearing she might lure the zombies over, I quickly dragged every table and chair from the living room to barricade the door. Just as I exhaled in relief, more bullet comments floated by. "Ha ha ha. Well done. You are someone who listens to advice, and I really appreciate that, but you are still a fool. You didn't even notice you got cheated on." "What? I got cheated on?" I looked out the window. Somehow, Makoto had gotten his hands on a gun and fired several shots into the zombie mass. Then, he scooped Willow up into his arms, sharing a dramatic, do-or-die moment. It seemed I had indeed been cheated on. After all, which normal person during a zombie outbreak would risk everything to chase after someone else's girlfriend? Chapter 02. Willow and I had fought over Makoto more times than I could count. The first time was at Makoto's welcome back party. Right in front of me, he clinked glasses with Willow, interlocking their arms in a toast. Then, with a smirk, he looked at me provocatively and said, "George, don't get the wrong idea. I've always seen Willow as a little sister. If the two of us were ever meant to be, you wouldn't even stand a chance." Willow, with an innocent face, added, "Don't overthink it. It's just a game." Then, as the crowd cheered, they tilted their heads back and drank. I sat there, watching, expressionless. As soon as she finished drinking, Willow hurried over to me, rubbing her face against my arm. "Game's over, honey. Let's go home," she said sweetly. At that time, she still had a shred of shame, it seemed. I swallowed down the words I wanted to yell and forced myself to believe I was just overthinking things. The second time was in the middle of the night. Willow received a phone call, immediately got out of bed, dressed, and left. By 7 a.m., I saw a post on Makoto's social media. "Even at my lowest, I know you'll always be by my side." We both knew exactly who you referred to. It was a message meant for me to see. That day, Willow and I had a huge fight. She bit her lip and argued. "Makoto and I grew up together. He's always looked out for me. Now he's lost his job and is drowning in debt, after such a huge blow. How could I just ignore him?" I stared at her blankly and said, "Oh, so taking care of him means staying out all night and forgetting to come home?" Her expression shifted into something unfamiliar. She frowned. "George, you weren't like this before." After that, we fell into a cold war. Then, I found out she was helping Makoto move, helping him find a job, even spending her own money to get him back on his feet. But Makoto, he wasn't looking for a job at all. He was perfectly content living off of her, drowning himself in alcohol every day. And every time he got drunk, he would call Willow to pick him up. At the end of those calls, he'd even put on a self-righteous act, sighing, "Willow, isn't it a bit inappropriate for you to see me every day? Wouldn't want George to get the wrong idea." And Willow, she just looked at me and coldly said, "An innocent person doesn't need to explain themselves." Innocent, my ass. I wasn't the type to tolerate betrayal, so I broke up with her on the spot and kicked her out of my house. I never expected her to come back crying, begging to get back together, saying she had really learned her lesson. That was right around the time the first reports came in about violent attacks from unknown infected individuals. Turns out, the zombies had been around for a while already. People just refused to believe it. And before we knew it, we were trapped here, to survive. We scrambled to stock up on supplies before the outbreak fully exploded. But what I hadn't anticipated, Willow gave Makoto our location. And I definitely didn't expect that. Even in such dire circumstances, Makoto would still come looking for her. But you know what? It's fine. I don't have enough supplies anyway. One less person means fewer mouths to feed. I'd like to see how those two plan to survive. Perhaps sensing my gaze, Willow looked up toward me. Almost immediately, more bullet comments floated across my vision. "Damn, can these two scumbags just hurry up and die? Thinking about what they did before makes me sick." Someone replied, "The female lead won't die so easily." Another person commented, "Oh my god, they're not seriously planning to run upstairs and beg the main character to take them in, are they? If the MC forgives them, I swear I'm gonna lose it." Someone else added, "Not a chance. Didn't you see how George barricaded the door?" I took a deep breath, gathering my thoughts. If I was the MC they were talking about, and Willow was the female lead, that meant Willow had some kind of plot armor. She wouldn't die that easily. I glanced around the room. I had stocked up on as many supplies as I could, but I wasn't a prophet. I couldn't have prepared everything I'd need for the apocalypse in advance. If I were to consume them alone, I estimated I could last around 3 months, at most. But right now, the most urgent problem was, Makoto had a gun. If they tried to break in by force, I wouldn't just lose my supplies, I might lose my life. I needed a plan. Chapter 03. In the blink of an eye, the two of them managed to escape. Makoto had simply turned on his phone's music, cranked the volume up, and tossed it away. The sharp melody pierced through the night, immediately drawing the zombies' attention elsewhere. Since it was still the early stages of the outbreak, the zombie numbers weren't overwhelming yet, nor were they particularly intelligent. They got away. But for me, this was a disaster. Wouldn't that mean they were heading straight for my apartment building? And they had a gun. I had no idea how many bullets were left in it. The bullet comments flooded in, so many that I almost couldn't read them all. They actually got away. Damn, they're heading for George's building. Shit, and they have a gun. Another person commented, with Makoto's twisted mind. George is in danger. Others tried to reassure themselves. Calm down, dude. The door is barricaded. Even if they fire, they can't get in, and they'll just attract more zombies. Yeah, as long as George doesn't open the door, he'll be fine. But then, one comment sent chills down my spine. You're celebrating too soon. They're climbing through the window. My mind went blank. Willow and Makoto knew I wouldn't open the door for them, so they chose another way in. I hadn't had enough time to fortify my place properly. The windows weren't reinforced or soundproofed. They were only secured with regular latches. If they shot the windows, they could easily climb inside. Just as I processed this, I heard knocking. Outside the window were their faces. They were struggling to balance themselves on the narrow ledge, pleading for help. In a split second, a plan formed in my mind. They expected me to refuse, so I'd do the opposite, catch them off guard. Feigning urgency, I shouted, "Hold on, I'm opening the window right now, just hang on." Sure enough, more bullet comments flooded in. No way, George, are you out of your mind? What the fuck are you doing? You wanna die? Don't make me start cursing, I can't believe this. Ugh, I thought he was different. Still a damn simp at the end of the day. Hearing my words, relief washed over their faces. Makoto, without hesitation, put his gun away. Now. I rushed forward, released the latch, and flung the window open, and in the same breath, I grabbed the fire extinguisher beside me and sprayed it directly at them. You scumbags, you and your so-called brother can get the hell away from me. You thought I'd save you, in your dreams, go to hell. With their vision obstructed and hands scrambling for balance, they screamed, and then, they fell. I slammed the window shut and locked it again. Unfortunately, since I lived on the second floor, there was a grassy lawn below. The bushes cushioned their fall. Damn, they weren't dead, but the noise had already drawn some nearby zombies. I watched as Makoto, gritting his teeth through the pain, yanked Willow up and hurriedly dragged her into the neighboring apartment complex. Setting down the fire extinguisher, I patted my chest and exhaled. The bullet comments flared up again. Oh, playing with our emotions now. Huh. I swallowed back all the curses I was about to scream. I was ready to swing my 20-meter-long sword, but instead, I peeled an apple. Damn it, George, how dare you toy with us? Another comment read, all of you who just cursed at George, apologize now. Someone replied, I'm not apologizing unless he apologizes first. He tricked me so bad, I almost cried. Someone else wondered, but seriously, who keeps a fire extinguisher at home? That would be me. I almost burned down my kitchen once, so for safety reasons, I bought one and kept it in my apartment. It was because of that extinguisher that I came up with the plan. If I had confronted them head-on, I would have been at a huge disadvantage. Makoto had a gun, but he never put his finger on the trigger, meaning they had a backup plan. If I refused to help, he'd shoot. If I showed kindness, he'd lower his guard. So I tricked them, but after this, they'd probably want me dead. And just as I expected, my phone started ringing. Willow was calling me. Chapter 04. I had no idea why she was calling after everything that had happened. But one thing was clear, she and Makoto were still alive. I didn't want to pick up. I was about to decline the call when the bullet comments started pouring in. Answer it. Why wouldn't you? Know your enemy, and you'll never lose a fight. Yeah, didn't they always disgust you before? George, give them a taste of their own medicine. I just love seeing them seethe, wanting to kill you but completely powerless to do anything. I sighed. You guys have no manners, do you? Still, I answered the call. Willow's voice came through almost immediately, her breath ragged, her tone shaky, laced with sobs. George, I can't believe you. How could you just leave us to die? I raised an eyebrow. Willow, why do you sound so weak? Are you about to die? Before she could respond in anger, Makoto's voice chimed in. Willow, I honestly didn't expect George to hate me this much. He actually wanted me dead. But tell me, have I ever really wronged him? After a pause, he continued, but I get it. He's just the type who needs to control everything. He can't stand his girlfriend having male friends. To get revenge, he'd throw morality out the window. He'd rather gamble with 2 human lives just to soothe his ego. Willow, this is the man you wanted to get back together with. I'm just being blunt. Don't take it the wrong way. I just despise people like him. Selfish, small-minded, abandoning his own girlfriend when it matters most. No sense of responsibility at all. Makoto is seriously out of his mind. I smirked and said, Makoto, I know you have a big mouth and can't keep things to yourself, but that doesn't mean you should fart with your mouth. And honestly, out of all the skills you could have learned, you mastered being a cheap bastard, and not just that, but the pretentious coquette bitch kind. You actually know she's someone else's girlfriend, and yet, you spent all your time getting cozy with her. Are you asking for a beating? Do you just love getting slapped around? And you, of all people, want to talk about responsibility, if you had any. Why'd you lose your job, rack up debt from online loans, and end up mooching off someone else's girlfriend? Willow jumped in, cutting me off. George, I only see Makoto as a friend. He was just telling the truth, and you got all worked up. Why are you like this? I shot back. Oh, so you're saying you two are just pure friends, and I'm the one with a dirty mind? Let me ask you, what kind of decent woman, already in a relationship, drinks a cross-armed toast with another man? What kind of decent woman spends the night at another man's place? If you posted your nonsense online, you'd be trending for all the wrong reasons. Oh, wait, he's a pretentious coquette bastard, and you're just cheap. A perfect match. Willow stopped crying. Instead, her voice rose with anger. I told you, he's my childhood friend. We've always been like this. Do you have to be this cruel? You're so vicious. I let out a cold laugh. The world was ending, and she was still this brain dead. You two being shameless is one thing, but being stupid too. Just now, didn't you have a gun? Weren't you planning to kill me? I defend myself, and suddenly I'm the cruel one. With how double-standard you are. Your mothers must get polite greetings from strangers all the time. Fuck you. You. I hung up before she could finish. For a moment, the bullet comments fell silent. Then, like an explosion, they flooded my vision. Damn, George, that was epic. I love a main character with a sharp tongue. George really knows how to roast people. That was so satisfying. Another comment chimed in. Enjoying this too much. But now that George has completely burned this bridge, I don't think it's safe for him to stay here anymore. Chapter 05. I felt the same way. This was still the early stage of the apocalypse, and no one could predict what would happen next. But I had read enough zombie novels to know that in the best-case scenario, things would get under control in a few years. Worst case, it could take much longer. I wasn't some reincarnated survivor who had stocked up on supplies before the outbreak. Even if Willow and Makoto weren't trying to steal from me, my rations would only last about 3 months. Long-term survival was the real challenge. I sighed, deciding to eat first and think later. Too bad I didn't know how to cook. Most of the food I had bought was instant meals. So, I made a bowl of instant noodles, adding fish balls, sausages, eggs, and some greens. Just as I was enjoying my meal, a message popped up from Willow. We have no food. Can you spare some? For the sake of our past relationship. George, the supplies you stocked up on. I helped with that too. She was insulting me just minutes ago, and now she wanted my food. Was she mentally unstable? Did she really think I'd give her anything? There were zombies outside. Besides, if she voluntarily helped me stock up, that was her decision. What did it have to do with me? What's mine is mine. What's hers is still mine. So, I took a picture of my steaming hot bowl of noodles and sent it to her, replying, but I don't have much either. I thought Makoto risked everything to come find you because he had other plans. Willow responded. George, do you have to talk like this? I replied. Wait, are you telling me he really showed up alone, with no plan? He risked his life for love. Damn, I'm actually jealous of your epic friendship. Bullet comments popped up. Damn, this is pure evil. The sarcasm is killing me. Willow chose this path herself. Serves her right. George, whatever you do, don't help her. She's completely untrustworthy. Of course, I had no intention of helping her. By now, I was certain I was in a novel. Originally, the plot went like this. I was supposed to stop Willow from running to save Makoto. She wouldn't say anything at the time, outwardly appearing to accept the situation and waiting for rescue with me. But deep down, she'd resent me. Later, she'd realize she actually loved Makoto, and because I stopped her from saving him, she would hate me for it. Overwhelmed by despair, She would ultimately open the door and let the zombies in. According to the original storyline, before I was torn apart, she would glare at me with pure hatred and say, "George, do you know how Makoto died? Now, taste what it's like to be devoured in despair." Yeah, that's how it was supposed to go. So, I needed to eliminate all threats to my life before they had the chance to kill me. I had to make sure they wouldn't sneak back in through the window at night. After finishing my meal, I quickly bundled up cotton and blankets, stuffing them against the windows. That way, even if they shot the glass, I'd have time to react. But that wasn't my only backup plan. The top floor of this building had an apartment I had rented. The lease hadn't expired yet. I had originally stayed there while overseeing renovations on this place. When Willow found me that day, I had just moved down, and back then, I had installed security cameras in the living room. I never told Willow about this. Even though she helped stock up on supplies, I always kept a backup plan for myself. I wasn't about to trust a woman who had already turned her back on me once. The downside, the top floor apartment didn't have as many supplies as this one. The upside, I was the only tenant up there, and since I worked from home, I had still kept a decent amount of food. But the real problem was, how was I going to move my supplies upstairs? How much could I carry? Would I attract zombies? As I was thinking, a message popped up in the building's resident group chat. "Neighbors, does anyone have extra supplies they could spare? I just moved in after my apartment was renovated, and I have nothing at home. I know this is a big ask, but I swear I mean no harm. I'm willing to pay. I can pick it up using a drone if needed." The chat was silent for a long time. Everyone was wary. Who wouldn't be? In times like these, trust was fragile. Then, I had an idea. I replied, "There are zombies outside. I'm sure many people are willing to help, but opening doors and making noise could attract them." Almost immediately, someone echoed my concern. "Exactly. We're not unwilling to help, we're just afraid of drawing attention." Another person asked, "By the way, do zombies have intelligence? Can they enter buildings? Can they break down doors?" Before long, someone who seemed knowledgeable responded, "I've watched a lot of foreign zombie shows. Early-stage zombies rely on sound and smell to detect movement. They don't have intelligence yet. In our neighborhood, there aren't that many of them, and the entrance doors have passcodes. They can't get in, and they definitely can't climb windows. So, I have a suggestion. Instead of isolating ourselves, we should work together. I bet most people here only have a few months' worth of supplies. Long-term survival will be tough. If we cooperate, we might last longer." I immediately replied, "Agreed." +1. More people followed. +2. +3. From the messages, it looked like only a few dozen households were actively speaking up. Some people were probably staying silent, wanting to keep to themselves. Understandable. No one dared to reveal their apartment numbers. So, to address the issue, the group decided that anyone willing to share supplies could drop them off at the rooftop at designated times. Those in need could collect them afterward. I didn't trust these people either, but I did need an excuse to move to the rooftop apartment. And right now, the elevators were still operational. No one would dare take the elevator, though, but me. I was going to take a gamble. Chapter 06. I quickly packed as many supplies as I could into 2 large suitcases and stuffed my backpack to the brim. Then, I quietly opened the door. On this floor, only my apartment had been renovated, so I wasn't too worried about running into anyone. The real problem would be encountering people from other floors, but if I did, I'd just say I was going to help with the supply drop. The apocalypse had just begun. Even if human nature was bound to turn dark, it wouldn't happen overnight. When I reached the elevator, it was empty. No one dared to use it for fear of exposing their floor, but I wasn't afraid. I carefully timed my movements based on the group chat and the bullet comments. It felt like I had a cheat code, like when the bullet comments popped up with, "Hide now. Someone is taking the stairs to the rooftop. George, you have 10 seconds to get into your apartment. Go. Wait. Someone's about to step out. Press multiple elevator buttons to stop on different floors and avoid getting caught." One even reminded me, rice. Don't forget the rice. You can make porridge later. Porridge is just rice and water. You can cook that. Right. Another one scolded. Why are we discussing recipes right now? Move the supplies. My heart can't take this. I went back and forth 10 times before I finally got most of my stuff upstairs. It wasn't even that much. Honestly, supplies had been selling out like crazy before the outbreak. The fact that I had enough for 3 months was already a miracle. I was exhausted. I decided to take a short break before moving the last box of instant noodles. That's when I heard it. A gunshot, followed by the sound of shattering glass. My body tensed. It was Makoto and Willow. And the next second, they'd ripped down the blankets I'd used to block the window and break in. I didn't even have time to think. I abandoned everything and bolted for the door. The moment I stepped out, thud, the sound of a body hitting the floor. Shit, how did he get here so fast? I slammed the door shut, but another gunshot rang out. The bullet hit the door. They were trying to kill me. I ran. I flew down the hallway, sprinting toward the stairwell. Behind me, I could hear the sound of footsteps chasing after me. If they caught me, I was dead. Bullet comments exploded across my vision. Holy shit, that shot was from Willow. She almost hit George. Willow is actually insane. She really tried to kill him. George, run. Don't look back. My heart is about to explode. Mine too. I didn't stop. Didn't hesitate. I ran all the way up to the 25th floor before slipping into my rooftop apartment, locking the door behind me, and collapsing onto the couch, gasping for air. I barely had time to breathe before, ding dong, the doorbell. I froze. There was no way they had followed me this far. By the time they chased me out, I was already several floors up. Their goal wasn't to chase me down, it was to take the supplies. Besides, after everything they had been through today, they wouldn't risk climbing more stairs or exposing themselves to other people. I took off my shoes, crept silently to the door, and peeked through the peephole. A girl. I didn't open the door. She hesitated for a moment, then left something on the ground before walking away. I waited and waited. Once I was sure she was gone, I cracked the door open and picked up the note she had left. I'm from the 24th floor. I heard noises, so I came to bring you some supplies. The world isn't safe anymore. We need to stick together. Stay strong. I exhaled. I didn't take the supplies immediately. What if it was a trap? But then I realized, after moving so much stuff, I had already made plenty of noise. There was no point in pretending the apartment was empty. So, I accepted the offering, eggs and noodles, and stashed them inside. Once everything was secured, I pulled up my phone and checked the surveillance cameras in my old apartment. Makoto and Willow were sitting in the living room, eating instant noodles. They had enough to last about a week. But then what? I checked the building's group chat. People were already talking. Did anyone hear gunshots? Yeah, I've heard several today. Was it looters? Then, someone sent a chilling message. I saw a man and a woman outside earlier. They had a gun. I saw them climb to the second floor but then fall. They ran away. Everyone on the lower floors, be careful. I thought for a moment. I needed to warn them. So I typed. Just to be upfront, I was the one who got attacked on the second floor. That man and woman. They're my ex-girlfriend and her childhood friend. They tried to kill me, so I ran to another place. I'm safe for now, but they don't have much food left. Once they run out, they'll start looting with that gun. Please be careful. I'm sorry for putting everyone at risk. The responses came quickly. Some people cursed at Makoto and Willow. Some worried about safety. Some discussed how to handle the situation. But no one blamed me. I had expected someone to say, "It's your fault for bringing them here." Instead, my neighbors reassured me. "It's not your fault. I've never seen a woman this shameless." Calls him a close male friend. But let's be honest, she was just stringing him along. Someone else added, "They have a gun. We need to work together." The chat was surprisingly united. That night, a few guys from the lower floors took drastic action. They grabbed whatever heavy objects they could find and barricaded the entrance to my old apartment. Makoto and Willow were trapped inside. If they wanted to leave, they'd have to climb out the window. The floors above them were either empty or had reinforced security bars on the windows. Even if they broke the glass, they wouldn't be able to get in anywhere else. Someone even locked the main entrance to the building, ensuring our whole block was safe. For now, I breathed a sigh of relief. Just as I was about to sleep, Willow sent me another message. Chapter 07. Annoying. I forgot to block her. Willow's message popped up. "George, do you really want me to die that badly? And do you honestly think you can run forever?" A chill ran down my spine. Could she see the bullet comments too? My heart pounded. I forced myself to stay calm, even if she could see them. So what? The comments had never revealed that I was staying on the 25th floor. At most, she'd know I was somewhere in this building. I didn't reply. Another message came in. "I really misjudged you. Heartless, cruel, leaving people to die. You'll pay for your choices. Oh, please." The bullet comments were far angrier than I was. "This bitch. The MC lets her live. She wants to kill him. He blocks her escape. She wants to feed him to zombies. No matter what happens, it's never her fault. She's the ultimate fake innocent White Lotus. I swear, I want to break into the novel and kill her myself. The MC is suffering too much. Guys, I'm seriously worried for George. If he doesn't die from zombies or starvation, he might die at the hands of these two scumbags. That would infuriate me." Yeah, I needed a plan. The next morning, I finally replied to Willow. "I already left supplies for you. Be grateful." After a moment, I sent another message. "You can insult me all you want, but tell me this, if you had been the one trapped in a zombie horde, do you really think Makoto would have run in to save you?" She responded instantly. "Makoto isn't as heartless as you are." I laughed. Let's see about that. I was actually relieved I hadn't taken every last bit of food. As long as they had something to eat, they wouldn't get too desperate. A cornered animal is the most dangerous, and I didn't want to push them into doing something reckless just yet. But they weren't just sitting around. Through the surveillance feed, I watched them eating well, resting well, then plotting. Plotting how to steal more supplies. Plotting how to force me out. Even planning to shoot me dead on sight. The two of them talked, their faces moving closer. Then, well, things escalated. I quickly looked away, my eyes. But I wasn't surprised. I had known for a long time that their so-called pure friendship was complete bullshit. The bullet comments. They lost their minds. There were so many expletives I couldn't even make out half of them. But before they could make their move against me, something else happened. A convoy of jeeps rolled into the complex. Men armed with real weapons jumped out, opening fire on the zombies in the area. Gunshots rang out, taking down dozens of zombies in mere seconds. Then, they set up camp right in our neighborhood. The building's group chat exploded. Who are these guys? Are they military? I peered through the curtains. They didn't look like soldiers to me. Most likely, they were looters, a squad of survivors who raided others for supplies. Not everyone had been lucky enough to stockpile food. If this zombie outbreak lasted for months or even years, survival would become the only priority. And in a lawless world, there were always people willing to take instead of earn. I was still debating my next move when I saw something through the window. Willow and Makoto. They had jumped out of the second-floor window, and they were walking toward the armed men. Chapter 08. Bullet comments were flying in. I'm betting Makoto has defected, taken Willow with him. The next one read. Makoto probably snagged his gun from those guys. Right. Another added. Those people don't look like good guys. What now? Are they going to go floor by floor robbing everyone? Yet another comment chimed in. I'm done with this. One crisis isn't over and here comes another. With them coming down, it's clear they're out to get George. Sure enough, everyone guessed right. I then heard someone using a loudspeaker downstairs shout, "Who's George? We heard you've hoarded a ton of supplies. We're all starving here, why not help us out a bit?" They kept shouting, and all I could do was force myself to stay calm. There had to be a way out of this. I opened my phone and saw a message in the residents group chat. "George, you're the guy who got ditched by his girlfriend, right? You'd better be careful and not expose yourself." Someone replied. "Those people are the type that commit every atrocity imaginable. Our complex is now a huge safety hazard." Another added. "They're armed. If they force their way into our apartments, it could cost lives. We can't just sit and wait to be annihilated." They didn't even blame me, nor did they try to guilt-trip me into risking my life for them. In that moment, I felt a twinge of gratitude. My mind raced until a sudden idea struck me. I quickly typed. "They've only been clearing out the zombies from our complex." I recall someone in the chat mentioning they have a drone, and another saying that zombies use smell and sound to locate you. What if we use a drone to lure the zombies from somewhere else? Almost immediately, someone responded. "I'm in favor. Compared to zombies, the threat from those armed guys is far worse." Another chimed in. "Exactly, as long as we don't leave our apartments. Zombies aren't our immediate threat, but these guys are armed, and now that they've set up camp, even if George goes out to deliver supplies, they won't spare any other residents. Everyone here is smart." Action was swift, with supplies being shared and a few residents volunteering their drones. A girl from the 24th floor, shyly, no less, stepped forward to help. She had already delivered supplies to me once before, and I was truly grateful. 2 drones were dispatched immediately. At the same time, as soon as the drones took off, I heard several rapid gunshots from downstairs. Someone shouted, "Not making a sound. Then don't blame us when we search every floor." Another voice yelled, "Residents on the first floor, don't say we didn't warn you. It's this George who's making you die first." To buy some time, I hurriedly dialed Willow's number. I said, "I can deliver the supplies, but I have one condition." Barely had I finished when someone on the other end asked, "What condition?" It seemed they all thought we residents were just sitting ducks for them, treating this as a chance to savor my last struggles before I inevitably died. And for them, that was apparently entertaining. As they wished, my voice trembled as I pleaded. Don't kill me." At that moment, Makoto snatched the phone and laughed. "Don't kill you, George, when you want me dead. You sure aren't saying it like that." He always found a way to take a jab at me, and he wasn't about to let this chance slip by. I silently scanned the group chat and listened to him go on. He said, "Some people are so selfish and petty, letting a minor personal grudge cost someone their life. And when things get critical, they turn into spineless little rats, all meek and submissive. Right, Willow? I told you before, you trusted the wrong person. Not like me. I came all this way to rescue you, to kill zombies, to climb and jump through windows, to protect you, yet you keep getting deceived by a guy like him." I said nothing. I wasn't in the mood to listen to his whining. Then Willow took over the conversation. She said, "George, you need to sincerely apologize to Makoto, and of course to me, too. Hand over all your supplies. and I'll try to convince them to let you go. But you really went too far before. From now on, it's every man for himself. Apologize." I immediately cranked up my tone on the phone and fired back. "Willow, have you lost your mind? Do you really expect me to grovel at your feet just because of your little speech? How can you be so naive? I almost didn't recognize you. I thought you were one of those fake, White Lotus types from a pond, pretending to be pure." I turned to Makoto. "Makoto, when someone says one thing, you have to come back with 3. With that idle mouth of yours, why don't you go to the public restroom and lick every toilet clean? At least then you'd be doing society a favor." I heard both of them gritting their teeth. "George, just go die." I laughed and replied, "Oh, you really think so? Even if you both die, I'm not going down with you." After all, I was keeping a close eye on the residents' group chat. One resident was sharing drone footage. Sure enough, a couple of streets away, another complex was swarming with zombies. The drones quickly flew among them, luring the horde to run straight toward our building. They want to kill me. Let's see if they can even escape a zombie blockade. Chapter 09. The call on the other end crackled for a moment and then went silent. Soon after, countless gunshots rang out. I peeled back a corner of the curtain and watched quietly. Weapons were now as scarce as supplies, yet the zombies had multiplied even more than before. The jeep-driving raiders had made a decision. Escape was the best option. So, while exchanging gunfire as cover, they quickly piled into their vehicles. In the end, only one seat remained, and Makoto scrambled in. Even from this high up, I could hear his anguished cry. He shouted, "Willow, I know you don't want me to die. Don't worry, I'll come for you." Then, with a swift kick, he shoved Willow out. The vehicle sped away. In other words, he left Willow behind in the midst of the zombies. "Ha, Willow, you've brought this on yourself." I had once asked her when it came to choosing whom to save, whether Makoto would be willing to rescue her. Back then, she told me, "Makoto isn't the cold-blooded type like you." Well, who'd have thought? He abandoned her. The bullet comments went wild. "Ha ha ha. This is hilarious. I can't stop laughing." Willow totally got what she deserved. Damn, she really ended up shooting herself in the foot. Karma hit fast. So, are we allowed to set off fireworks now? I just can't wait. Such a pity. That bastard Makoto just ran off. Someone added. Upstairs. Don't worry, although I hate to say it, those raider convoys never end well for their own. At that moment, Willow was utterly isolated and helpless. Makoto hadn't even left her a gun, and as she ran and ran, it looked like the zombies were about to catch her. Yet, in moments of extreme danger, human potential can reach unbelievable heights. She somehow mustered the strength to leap and grab onto the air conditioner unit, slowly climbing up to the second floor, and then, through the shattered window, she re-entered my place. The female lead sure does have a knack for survival, but one thing was now clear: the raiders were gone, and with them, the immediate threat to our complex had been lifted. In the residents' group chat, people were cheering. One message read, "What a magnificent, cathartic counterstrike." Another said, "I swear, I was looking out my window and it was more thrilling than a 3D movie." Yet another commented, "But there's one problem. George's girlfriend isn't dead. Does anyone really want her to live?" Yes, that question put many in a difficult position. After all, it was my personal feud with her, and the neighbors, so kind-hearted, would be too cruel to let someone live while watching her suffer. As I was pondering this, Willow's phone rang. Of all people, she still hadn't lost her phone in this dangerous situation, such an iconic aura. I figured I might as well listen to what she had to say. On the surveillance feed, I saw her sprawled in the living room, gasping for breath. Her labored voice came through, choked as she managed to say, "George, I'm sorry." I laughed and replied, "Oh, look who's apologizing now, like the sun rising in the west. Weren't you the one demanding an apology from me just a while ago? What kind of performance is this?" She hesitated before saying, I misjudged you. I got Makoto wrong." I scoffed. "First you say you got me wrong for being cold-hearted, and then you claim you got Makoto wrong. If your eyes are so defective, why not get them fixed instead of dragging me into it?" Ignoring my mockery, she lowered her voice and said, "I should have listened to you. I should never have rushed out to save him. You know, when he was in such danger, I rushed in without a second thought, but then, when the zombies came, he pushed me right into their midst. What do you call that?" I could only reply, "What do you call it? That's love." Before long, she burst into uncontrollable sobs, crying out, "George, Makoto and I have known each other since we were kids, and yet he treated me like this." There it went again, first blaming me, then someone else, never once taking responsibility for her own fickle nature. If only, after breaking up with me, she hadn't begged for a reunion only to keep being unfaithful all along, I might have spared her some respect. But what did I get? Torn between not letting go of me and becoming intimately entangled with Makoto. What a despicable, two-faced woman. Then she pleaded. George, I'm sorry, can we start over? I promise I'll listen to you from now on. Please, I miss you so much. George, please forgive me. I couldn't help but be amused. Really, who would want a fickle woman like her? Yet she treated my place like a dumping ground for her mess. I almost burst out laughing as I said, where do you get the nerve to think we can start over? Do I look like I need you in my life? Then, with a heart-wrenching cry, she added, George, you wanted me to die so badly. When I went out to look for him, you deliberately didn't stop me, didn't you? That really set my blood boiling. I gritted my teeth and spat. Listen, do you even speak human? It sounds like your IQ got snipped along with your umbilical cord. If I tried to advise you, you'd just accuse me of being heartless for not saving you. And if I didn't advise you, you'd say I'm cold-blooded. So, is it that every good word I say gets twisted by you? But she, as if unable to understand a single word I said, continued her pitiful whining. George, it's all my fault anyway, but I need you to know that the one I've always loved is you. I feel like I'm about to break down completely. Chapter 10. I couldn't be bothered to curse back, but the bullet comments were far nastier than I ever could be. One read, I can't take it anymore, my advice is to just go die. Another said, when she's sleeping with someone else, why doesn't she ever say she loves George? Yet another commented, I'm so disgusted I could vomit. Seriously, she's got the brain of a pig, she just doesn't have any. And one more added, I can't stop laughing. When Makoto and her were plotting how to shoot George, why didn't she say she loved him? Someone even shouted, is she ever going to die? If not, I'm sending a blade to the author. Frankly, I wasn't interested in saving her. There were still unopened bowls of instant noodles in that apartment, enough for her for a few days. From now on, let her fend for herself. That's exactly what she said to me when she demanded I apologize to them. And now it was coming back around on her. Karma really does take its turn. I was exhausted from the day, so I collapsed and slept. The next morning, I saw a message from Willow. George, see you in the next life. I frowned in disgust, feeling so sick that I nearly couldn't eat breakfast. I quickly pulled up the surveillance feed on my phone and discovered that Willow had turned into a zombie. Sure enough, the bullet comments confirmed it. Ha ha ha. Serves her right. Karma's fast. Author, you really get us. Told her to die, and she died immediately. This is awesome. She still managed to become a zombie and terrorize people. Why didn't she just starve instead? It turned out that what she meant by not holding on yesterday was exactly this, but I couldn't feel happy about it. She was still wandering around my living room like a mindless corpse. I quickly reported the incident to the residents group chat. The drone guy was dispatched once more. This time, someone tearfully contributed some duck blood, the kind you use for hot pot, as bait. Finally, they managed to lure zombie Willow out of the window. I watched her shambling outside like a walking corpse, sighed deeply, and slowly closed the window. Thank goodness the government hadn't completely given up. Despite the usual power, water, and internet outages, there were still occasional airdrops. At first, it was just seeds for vegetables and fruits. Then, everyday supplies began arriving. Some people, bored out of their minds, even started building shelters on the rooftop to cultivate and breed new varieties. In our building, the residents banded together, sharing, helping one another. Together, we survived for 3 long years. We held off the zombies, until one day, a jubilant broadcast announced that the apocalypse was officially over. That day, I even asked everyone's help to remove the barricade from outside the second-floor door. When we opened the door, a huge cloud of dust swirled into the air. I found Willow's phone. After charging it fully, I saw what had become of Makoto. After he left, he joined those raider gangs, burning, looting, and pillaging to snag supplies. Then, an accident injured him badly, and he ended up with a broken leg, rendered disabled. He couldn't even walk properly. His final messages were desperate pleas for Willow to save him. But by then, Willow had already become a zombie, and maybe he even tried to shoot her. In the end, he sent no more messages. In this apocalypse, amid raider convoys, the worst aspects of human nature only magnify. They wouldn't bother keeping a useless dead weight around. So, bringing him along was only useful for their own purposes. As supplies dwindled further, Makoto's fate was all but sealed. I, along with everyone else, endured until spring finally arrived. But as for him and Willow, they chose the path of foolishness. In the end, they brought their fate upon themselves. No one escapes karma. On the community lawn, we all sang out in unison, celebrating the arrival of another spring.